Earth was quiet that night. The stars were shining and the air was cold. John Carter sat alone on the porch of his small wooden cabin, deep in the forest. His rifle leaned against the wall. His dog, Max, was asleep at his feet. It was just another quiet night in the middle of nowhere. John was a former military engineer. He had seen war, death, and betrayal. Now he wanted peace. He had left the noise of the world behind and lived far away from people. No phones, no internet, just trees, silence, and stars. But that night something strange happened. A bright light flashed in the sky. It moved fast, too fast to be a plane or meteor. The light grew bigger and brighter. Then, boom! A loud explosion shook the ground. Birds flew from the trees. Max jumped up and barked wildly. John stood up quickly, heart racing. What the hell was that? Smoke rose from the woods not far from his cabin. Something had crashed. Something big. Without wasting time, John grabbed his flashlight, took his rifle, and followed the trail. He moved fast through the trees, his boots crunching leaves and branches. Max ran ahead, barking. After 10 minutes, he reached a clearing. His eyes widened. A large, strange-looking ship had slammed into the earth, burning and broken. It wasn't like anything John had ever seen. The metal was dark and smooth, glowing with blue lines. Parts of it were still smoking. John stepped closer, carefully. Suddenly he heard a sound, a soft cry. He raised his rifle, alert. "Who's there?" he shouted. Then he saw her. A figure crawled out from the side of the wreckage. She was covered in cuts and dust. Her skin was pale with a faint silver glow. Her hair was white like snow, and her eyes were bright violet. She looked human, but she wasn't. She collapsed in front of him. John rushed forward. He knelt beside her and checked her pulse. It was weak, but steady. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked gently. She opened her eyes slowly and whispered, "Help. Please." John hesitated for a second. He had no idea who or what she was, but she was hurt, and she needed help. That was enough. He carried her in his arms and began the walk back home. Max walked beside him, looking back at the crash site with suspicion. Back at the cabin, John placed her on his couch. He cleaned her wounds and wrapped her arm, which was bleeding badly. She winced but didn't speak. Her skin was strangely warm, almost glowing under the dim light. When he was done, she looked at him with tired eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. "What are you?" John asked. "Where did you come from?" The woman sat up slowly. "My name is Alira. I come from a world far away." "It doesn't exist anymore." John stared at her. "What do you mean?" "They destroyed it," she said. "They destroyed all of us." "Who did?" John asked. She looked toward the window, as if expecting something to appear at any moment. Her voice trembled. "They're coming, and they'll kill me if they find me." John's grip on the rifle tightened. "Who's coming?" Alira looked into his eyes, deep and serious. "The Xereks. They hunt those who can still give life. My people. They made sure our future could go on. But now I'm the only one left." John frowned, confused. "Future? What do you mean?" She reached out and gently touched his hand. Her skin sparked faintly against his. "You don't understand," she said, her voice filled with sorrow. "I'm the last of my kind, and I can still give life." John felt a chill down his spine. Outside, the wind blew through the trees, but inside the cabin everything had changed. John sat beside Alira for a long time. The fire in the small cabin flickered, casting shadows on their faces. Outside, the wind howled through the trees. Max lay quietly in the corner, sensing the tension in the room. John still could not believe what she had told him. "You're the last of your kind," he whispered. "And you can still give life?" Alira nodded, her violet eyes shining with pain and hope. "Yes. My people were special. We were the protectors of life in the galaxy. We could create new life, new worlds. But the Xerix hunted us. They wanted to end everything we built. John frowned. Who are the Xerix? They are a cruel race, Alira said softly. Strong and cold. They want power and control. They destroyed my world. They sterilized my people, took away their ability to have children. But I escaped. John's mind raced. Why did you come here? Why Earth? Alira looked away, a tear rolling down her cheek. Earth is one of the last places hidden from them. It is quiet, full of life. But it is also dangerous for me now. John wanted to ask more questions, but suddenly, his ears caught a strange noise, far outside in the forest. Did you hear that? John whispered. Alira's eyes widened. She stood quickly and moved to the window. They're close. John's heart jumped. Who? The Xerix hunters, she said. They have strong senses. They will find me soon. John grabbed his rifle and went to the door. We need to prepare. The night grew darker. John and Alira worked quickly. He showed her his weapons and his small underground bunker. It was a safe place he had built during his military days. They packed supplies, food, water, medicine, and some simple gadgets John had made. Alira watched, carefully. Your world is simple, she said, but full of hope. John smiled weakly. I like it that way. As they moved through the forest, John felt a strange pull in his chest, a feeling he could not explain. It was like something deep inside him was waking up. Alira noticed it too. The bond is forming, she said quietly. John looked at her, confused. Bond? She nodded. When two souls connect, something changes. It is more than friendship or love. It is a link of survival. You saved me and now we share part of our life. John felt dizzy. I don't understand. Alira took his hand gently. In time you will. They reached the bunker just as the first rain began to fall. Inside, the cold metal wall seemed strange to Alira's warm skin. She moved to a small console John had built and pressed a few buttons. A hidden door opened, revealing a safe room filled with old equipment and weapons. John smiled. Welcome to my fortress. Alira's violet eyes shone with gratitude. Thank you. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Alira's voice broke the quiet. John, there is something else you must know. John leaned forward, listening closely. The Xerix are not just hunters. They are scientists. They want to study me, take what they can to build new weapons. John's eyes narrowed. Weapons? Yes, Alira said. My blood carries the power to create life, but also power beyond imagining. If they get it, they will become unstoppable. John clenched his fists. We can't let that happen, Alira nodded. That is why I ran, but I fear they found me because of the beacon from my ship. John's mind went back to the crash site. The blue light? Yes, it sent a signal that someone could follow. John looked worried. So they know where you are? Alira's lips pressed into a thin line. Yes, and they will come soon. Suddenly, the bunker's alarm beeped loudly. John jumped to his feet. Someone is outside. Alira stood too, her body tense. John grabbed his rifle and moved to the door. Stay behind me. The door opened slowly. A figure appeared in the rain, wearing a dark uniform, face hidden by a hood. John raised his weapon. Who are you? The stranger stepped forward, hands raised. I'm not your enemy. Alira's eyes searched the figure's face. Show yourself. The man pulled back his hood. John gasped. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin was pale blue, with strange markings glowing faintly. I am Lyra, she said. I come from a group that wants to help you. John frowned. Why should we trust you? Lyra looked at Alira. Because we want to stop the Xerix too. They destroyed my home just like yours. Alira studied her for a long moment. How? Do I know you're not working for them? Lyra smiled sadly. Because I'm a survivor, and like you I want to live. John lowered his rifle slowly. What do you want from us? Lyra stepped inside. Information, weapons, allies. The Xerix will not stop. They will come with their fleet. John's mind raced. A fleet? They had little time. Alira looked at John. We must prepare. John nodded. We will fight, but first we need to know more. Lyra pulled a small device from her pocket and showed a hologram of star maps and planets. The Xerix control many worlds, but there is a weakness, an ancient power hidden on Earth, something they fear. John's eyes widened. Ancient power? On Earth? Lyra nodded. It is real, and if we find it, we might have a chance. Alira smiled faintly. Then our hope is not lost. The three sat together, planning late into the night. Outside, the wind still whispered in the trees. John looked at Alira and then at Lyra. His life had changed forever. The war was coming and he was no longer alone. The forest was silent again, but John Carter knew the calm would not last. After hours of planning, he finally let his guard down. He and Alira sat beside the fire in the bunker's main room. Lyra had gone to check outside, her blue skin blending with the night. John looked at Alira. Her pale face was tired but determined. How much time do we have? He asked quietly. She shook her head. Not much. They are closer than we think. John rubbed his temples. Then we must move fast. Suddenly, a sharp noise cut through the silence. The bunker's outer door slammed open. John grabbed his rifle. Stop, a man shouted from the doorway. John's finger tightened on the trigger. Wait, we are not your enemies, the man said. John stepped forward slowly. Who are you? The man stepped into the light. He was tall, with a clean uniform and a calm face. Behind him, two others followed, armed but careful. We are from Earth Special Forces, the man said. We received a distress signal from your location. John's heart pounded. Who sent the signal, he asked. The man hesitated. We don't know, but we are here to help. Alira stood and moved beside John. She studied the strangers closely. How did you find us, she asked, voice low. The man looked at her, eyes serious. The signal came from the wreckage. We traced it to this bunker. John didn't trust them. How do we know you're not with the Xerix? The man smiled sadly. We are not Xerix, but we work for a group called the Order of Terra. We protect Earth from alien threats. Alira's eyes narrowed. Order of Terra. Yes, the man said. We have been watching the skies for years. When your ship crashed, the signal alerted us. John glanced at Alira. Should he believe them? Something about them felt off. That night, the strangers stayed in the bunker. John watched them carefully. They asked many questions about Alira, about her race, her powers, and the Xerix. Alira did not answer. She only whispered to John. They are hiding something. John agreed. The more they talked, the more he felt trapped. Late in the night, John found Lyra outside near the edge of the forest. They are not what they say, she warned. John frowned. What do you mean? Lyra looked up at the stars. The Order of Terra works with the Xerix. They want to capture Alira and use her powers. John's blood ran cold. Back inside, he saw one of the strangers staring at Alira with cold eyes. That was enough. He moved quickly and whispered to Alira, We have to leave, now. Alira nodded. They packed what they could. Medical supplies, weapons, and the device Lyra had brought with star maps. John took Max and led Alira and Lyra through a secret tunnel that led out of the bunker. Outside, the forest was dark and wet, from rain. The wind howled again, hiding their footsteps, but far behind them, lights flashed. The Order of Terra was coming. John heard the soft hum of engines. Machines moved fast through the trees. They had only minutes before the hunters would surround them. Suddenly, A net fell from above, trapping Alira. She cried out. John pulled out his rifle and fired at the hovering drones. The drones dropped the net but surrounded them quickly. "Hold them," a voice shouted. John, Alira, and Lyra fought hard. Alira's power surged as she touched John's arm. He felt energy flow through him stronger than before. Together they pushed back the attackers. But John was hit in the shoulder. Blood soaked his shirt. "Keep moving," Alira shouted, grabbing John's hand. They ran deeper into the forest, hours. Later they reached an old military base John had once worked at. It was abandoned but still strong. Inside the cold walls, John helped Alira sit down. He pressed a cloth to his bleeding shoulder. Lyra used her device to open a hidden door deep inside the base. Behind it was a secret chamber. The room was filled with strange machines and glowing panels. In the center was a large sphere pulsing, with light. John stepped closer. The sphere showed images of distant planets, stars, and battles. Alira gasped. "This is a war room. My people use this to protect life across the galaxy." John touched the sphere carefully. "Can it help us?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but it needs a key." Alira looked at John. "You may be the key." John's heart raced. "Me?" She smiled softly. "Because of the bond." As they explored the chamber, alarms suddenly blared. The base shook. "The order found us," Lyra said. John grabbed his rifle. Alira placed her hand on the sphere. It lit up brighter. Suddenly the door slammed shut. They were trapped. Outside, the sounds of boots and machines grew louder. John looked at Alira. "We have to fight." She nodded. Together. The alarms blared like angry beasts, echoing through the dark corridors of the old military base. John's heart pounded loud in his chest, almost louder than the sirens. Outside the heavy steel door, he could hear the sound of footsteps, machines, and voices. The Order of Terra had surrounded them. The hunters were closing in. John glanced at Alira and Lyra. Alira's violet eyes were sharp and glowing faintly. Lyra's pale blue skin was almost glowing in the red light of the alarm. All three stood ready. The door vibrated under heavy blows. "They'll break it down soon," John said, tightening his grip on his rifle. Alira stepped forward and placed her hand on the glowing sphere in the center of the chamber. Her touch made the light pulse faster. "This is the war room," she whispered. "It holds the power of my people's knowledge and weapons. If we can unlock it, we may find a way to stop the Xerix and the Order." Lyra frowned. "But the key is locked by a complex code, and only the bond of life can unlock it fully." John felt a strange warmth in his chest. The bond between him and Alira was growing stronger, connecting them in ways he didn't understand. "Try it," John urged. Alira closed her eyes and focused. The light from the sphere spread, filling the room with a soft hum. Suddenly, the door shook violently as if something huge was trying to break through. John moved to the door and fired a warning shot. "Hold on," Alira whispered. The sphere's light grew brighter and started showing strange symbols and images, stars, planets, and battles long forgotten. "This is the history of my people," Alira said. "Our victories, our defeats, and our final stand." John stared at the images, feeling the weight of their meaning. He saw alien ships fighting against giant machines, creatures with glowing eyes, and a strange weapon that could destroy planets. "Is there a way to stop the Xerix here?" John asked. Alira nodded. "Yes, but it requires sacrifice." Before John could ask what she meant, the door exploded inward with a deafening crash. Men in dark armor flooded the chamber, weapons raised. The Order of Terra had come for Alira. John fired his rifle, taking down one attacker. Lyra fought with surprising strength, her hands glowing with blue energy. Alira moved with speed, dodging attacks and using her power to push enemies back. But they were outnumbered. John was hit in the leg. Pain exploded, but he stayed on his feet. Alira saw his pain and reached out. A warm light surrounded his wound, easing the pain instantly. Your bond is stronger than I thought, she said. John gritted his teeth and stood taller. We can't fight them all, Lyra said, but the war room can help us. Lyra moved back to the sphere and touched the surface. The room changed. Walls shifted, revealing hidden weapons and devices. John grabbed a strange rifle glowing with blue light. This is a weapon of the old war, Lyra said. It can cut through Zarek's armor. The attackers pushed closer. John fired. The blue beam sliced through the armor of one soldier. Lyra used her energy to blast another away. Lyra focused her power, sending waves of light that knocked the attackers back. The tide was turning. Suddenly the floor beneath them rumbled. A hidden elevator door slid open in the floor. Lyra shouted, "This way! We can escape and find more help." They rushed down into the darkness. The elevator shook violently as it descended deep underground. When the doors opened, they found themselves in a huge cavern lit by glowing crystals. John looked around in amazement. "This place, it's alive," Lyra said. "My ancestors built this as a sanctuary." Suddenly, a voice echoed through the cavern. "Welcome, survivors." A tall figure stepped from the shadows. His eyes glowed like stars. "I am Kalen," he said, "the last guardian of this place." John tightened his grip on his rifle. "Are you friend or foe?" John asked. Kalen smiled. "I am here to help. The war is not over." He walked toward the glowing crystals. "These crystals hold the power of life itself. With them you can stop the Zareks. But it will not be easy." Lyra stepped forward. "What must we do?" Kalen's eyes darkened. "You must awaken the ancient seed, a source of life so powerful that it can restore what was lost." John's mind reeled. "Awaken it? How?" Kalen pointed to a giant crystal in the center of the cavern. "Only the last fertile female and her bond can awaken it." Lyra and John exchanged a look. "The bond again?" John whispered. Kalen nodded. "But beware. The Zareks and the Order will do anything to stop you." Suddenly the ground shook. Again. Distant roars filled the cavern. "The hunters are here," Lyra said, drawing her weapon. John looked at Lyra. "We have no choice. We fight here, or we die trying." Lyra smiled softly. "Together." As the first shadows appeared, at the cavern entrance, John felt the strange warmth in his chest grow even stronger. This was just the beginning. The cavern was silent for a moment, but the silence was heavy, full of waiting. John stood beside Lyra, the warm bond between them pulsing stronger than ever. The giant crystal, the ancient seed, shone softly in the center of the room, surrounded by the glowing blue crystals embedded in the cavern walls. Kalen's voice broke the stillness. "To awaken the seed, you must give part of your life force. It will be painful, but if you succeed, it will send a wave of power across the galaxy, a wave that will heal and protect." Lyra stepped forward, her hands trembling. "I am ready." John looked at her, his heart aching. "We do this together," Lyra nodded. "I'll stand guard. No one will get close." As Lyra placed her hands on the ancient seed, a soft light began to spread from her fingertips, moving slowly over the crystal's surface. Then suddenly, the ground shook violently. The roar of engines and heavy footsteps echoed through the cavern. "On these you." "Zarek's fleet," Kalen warned, voice grim. "They have found us." John grabbed his rifle. "We don't have much time." Lyra closed her eyes and focused on the seed. The light grew stronger, pulsing with energy. Pain shot through her body as the seed responded. John watched, helpless, as she gasped and dropped to her knees. "Lyra!" John shouted, moving to her side. She looked at him, tears in her violet eyes. "It's working, but I'm losing strength." John's hand shook as he held her. Suddenly, the cavern's entrance exploded. Zarek's warriors poured in, their armor black and menacing. John fired, hitting one attacker, but they kept coming. Lyra unleashed her energy blasts, pushing some back, but the Zareks were too many. Kalen raised his hand, and the crystals on the walls began to glow brighter, creating a shield that slowed the attackers. John shielded Lyra as she struggled to continue. Almost there, she whispered. John felt a deep connection with her, stronger than fear, stronger than pain. Then, with a final burst of light, the ancient seed erupted with energy, sending a wave of blue light crashing through the cavern. The Xerx froze, their eyes wide with shock. Outside, the roar of engines faltered. The light swept out through the forest and beyond, spreading like a silent storm. John looked at Elira, who was now weak but smiling. "We did it," she whispered. Kaelin nodded slowly. "The seed is awake, the power will protect many worlds." But the victory was short-lived. A new sound echoed, faster, louder. The order of Terra's fleet was arriving. John tightened his grip on his rifle. This is far from over. Outside, the sky lit up with the flashing lights of ships. John, Elira, Lyra and Kaelin prepared to make their last stand. John looked at Elira. "You're the last fertile female," he said softly. She met his gaze. "And you're my bond. Together, we can save more than just Earth." The first wave of ships descended. The battle for the future of life was about to begin. The sky above the forest burned with fire and light. John Carter stood with Elira, Lyra, and Kaelin at the cavern's mouth, their weapons ready, hearts pounding. The order of Terra's ships filled the sky like a swarm of angry insects. Their shadows darkened the earth. John looked at Elira. Her pale blue skin seemed to glow from the power of the ancient seed. "We fight here, or we lose everything," John said. Elira nodded, her violet eyes shining. "For my people, for life." Kaelin raised his hand and the crystal shield flared brighter, a glowing dome protecting them. The first wave of ships opened fire, lasers cutting the air with deadly precision. John fired back, the strange blue rifle, humming with energy, slicing through enemy armor. Lyra unleashed blasts of energy, pushing the attackers back, but the order was relentless. From above, Xerx warriors dropped into the battlefield, dark and deadly. John fought side by side with Elira. She moved with grace and strength, her powers glowing as she struck down enemies, but the pain in her eyes grew deeper. "We must protect her," John shouted to Lyra. Suddenly, a huge shadow passed over them. A massive ship bigger than all the others landed with a ground-shaking crash. From its open hatch, a towering figure stepped out, the commander of the Order, a man known only as General Vrax. His armor was black as night and his eyes burned with cold fire. John stepped forward, rifle ready. "Elira," Vrax said, voice like ice, "you are the last fertile female. Your powers belong to the Order now." Elira stood tall, her voice steady. "I will never join you," Vrax laughed cruelly. "Then you will die." The battle erupted again, more furious than before. John and Vrax fought face to face. John dodged powerful strikes and fired precise shots, but Vrax was stronger, moving like a machine with deadly skill. Elira used her powers to shield John, sending waves of energy to push Vrax back. Kaelin and Lyra took on the warriors around them, their energy flashing like lightning. John knew he had to end the fight quickly. He saw Vrax charging toward Elira. With all his strength, John threw himself between them, taking a blow meant for her. Pain exploded in his side, but he held on. Elira's eyes filled with tears as she grasped John's hand. "Don't give up," she whispered. With a roar, John found new strength. He aimed the blue rifle and fired. The beam hit Vrax's chest, cracking the armor and sending him crashing to the ground. Vrax growled but struggled to rise. Elira stepped forward and touched the ancient seed's power inside her. A bright light burst from her hands. She released a powerful blast that knocked Vrax away. The general lay still. The battle slowly ended. The Order's ships retreated. The sky grew quiet again. John looked at Elira, his heart full. "You saved us," he said softly. Elira smiled, but her body was weak. "The seed's power will protect many," she said, "but I need rest." John helped her sit. Kaelin stepped forward. "Your fight is not over, but this victory gives hope." Lyra looked at John. "You and Elira, Your bond saved us all. John nodded. He looked up at the stars. The galaxy was still dangerous. But now, hope was alive. Together, they would face whatever came next. The first light of dawn broke over the forest, soft and golden. John Carter sat beside Alira, who was resting in a small clearing near the ancient cavern. Her breathing was steady but weak. The battle was over. For now. But the war inside John's heart was just beginning. He looked at her, the last fertile female of her kind, the key to a future none could imagine. I don't know what will come next, John said quietly, but I promise I'll protect you. Alira smiled softly, her violet eyes full of hope and fear. Together we can build a future. Suddenly the ground trembled lightly. Kaelin appeared from the trees holding a small glowing seed, the one Alira had helped awaken. This seed, Kaelin explained, is a gift from your people. It holds the power to restore life to worlds destroyed by war. John took the seed carefully, feeling its warmth. But the Order will not give up, Kaelin warned. They will return, stronger and more determined. Lyra joined them, her blue skin shimmering in the morning sun. We have time to prepare, she said firmly. But we must act fast. John looked at Alira. Will you come with me? He asked. To fight, to protect, to build. Alira nodded, her strength returning with each passing moment. I'm ready. Days passed and word of their victory spread quietly through hidden networks of resistance. John, Alira, Lyra, and Kaelin traveled to secret bases, gathering allies, humans and aliens who believed in hope. Together, they planned. The seed was planted in a protected place, glowing softly beneath the earth. Its power began to heal damaged planets, bringing life back to barren lands. But the Order's shadow loomed large. One night, as John and Alira stood watching the stars, a dark ship descended silently. From it emerged a messenger, not a soldier, but a woman with calm eyes and a gentle voice. I come with a message from the Order, she said. They want peace. John frowned. Why now? The woman smiled sadly. They have seen the power of the seed. They know the future is changing. Alira stepped forward. We will not fight forever, but trust must be earned, the woman nodded. Then let us begin. Months passed. The galaxy slowly changed. Old enemies became allies. New life blossomed where there was once only death. John and Alira's bond grew stronger. She was no longer just the last fertile female. She was a symbol of hope. One night, under a sky full of stars, John took her hand. We made it, he said softly. Alira smiled. Yes, together, we can face anything. From the darkness, a new dawn was rising, and with it, a future where life could grow and love could thrive. The end.